Was the moon always there? Interesting thought, hey? I think we all just assume every single day that, of course, the moon was always there, but there are interesting facts about the moon that we need to look into. It's the right size and shape and distance from the sun and the earth to make sure that we are able to have a total eclipse. We only ever see one side of the moon. Nobody really knows what's on the dark side of the moon. We used to go to the moon. Several missions have taken us to the moon. Yet we no longer have the ability to go back there, and we're having to rediscover this technology and bring it up to date to enable us to go back. So why did we stop going to the moon? Well, several people believe that this is because we were told not to come back, that there was an alien presence on the moon telling us that we weren't welcome there. There's also stories of tests that were done on the moon on one of the last moon missions where they set a seismic charge off on the moon and it rang like a bell for hours. The moon was hollow and made of metal. Now, are these stories true, or are they a fabrication from overactive imaginations? Well, maybe time will tell with that. I came across a very interesting video yesterday on X by a gentleman giving a presentation called Alex Collier, and he talks about the time the moon arrived. He talks about ancient alien civilizations that fought over Earth for hundreds of thousands of years, and that the moon arrived here under its own power, under its own steam, from a distant galaxy, from a distant solar system, far, far away. All sounds really far-fetched, doesn't it? But just think, why is the moon the size it is? Why do we only ever see one side of the moon? Why do so many ancient civilizations talk about the time the moon arrived? The Zulu, the ancient Greeks, the Maya, Sumerian texts, all of these ancient civilizations talk about a time the moon arrived. Ancient civilizations that had no possible way of being connected with each other at the time these stories came out. We see that a lot, don't we? Things around the Earth that happen simultaneously at a time when people didn't have the ability to communicate with each other. We take that for granted these days, don't we? Why are there so many pyramids around the Earth? Why are they on the same lines around the Earth? All built at a time when people didn't have the ability to communicate with each other, or the necessary tools or ability to build them in the first place. But, don't worry about it. There's no real story there, obviously, isn't there? One other thing that was very interesting, again, that gives an example of things that happen in multiple different cultures around the world at the same time, came up when I was talking to Josh McDowell, who's one of the people investigating the Nazca mummies. That episode came out yesterday, by the way. If you haven't seen it yet, please watch it. It was a really enlightening, riveting conversation with Josh, and it was probably the best account for the current situation of the Nazca mummies investigations that I've ever seen. But during this conversation, we were talking about head binding. And this is another thing that happened all over the world at the same time, at a time when people didn't have the ability to traverse the seas or communicate with each other. Why was head binding so popular thousands and thousands of years ago? Why did so many cultures do the same thing? What were they trying to replicate? Were they trying to imitate something that they saw as a deity or a god? Why were so many cultures around the world doing the same thing? And why were so many cultures around the world talking about a time when the moon wasn't there? So why was it brought here? To observe Earth? An outpost for an ancient civilization? To stabilize the seas, to make Earth more inhabitable? Who knows? I don't have the answers. But sometimes we need to ask the question. I'm going to leave you now with the interview with Alex Collier at his talk about the time the moon arrived. Some of the stuff you're going to hear is a little bit crazy and a little bit out there. But if we don't actually know the truth, and the universe is limitless, all possibilities are possible.
The moon was brought here 12,000 years ago. Our moon is in fact an artificial satellite. It is not a real planet. It can literally leave our orbit underneath its own power. According to the Andromedans, it was brought here from Ursa Minor, from a star system called Chalutari that had 21 planets. It belonged to the 17th planet, and it was one of 4. Now, there are ruins all over it. The map is there. There are some pictures there. There's a lot of more, which could have been taken, but it will become hills. This is why the Apollo astronauts stopped going back. It's because there was somebody already there getting told not to go back. This information is out there. Okay, our moon is 9.1 billion years old. 9.1 billion years old. It is in fact older than the Earth. And it is many of the materials that have been found on the minerals don't exist on that planet. The moon did not belong to part of the Earth. It was brought here. Literally. Our solar system has 8 artificial brought here that literally underneath their own power leave our solar system. And there are beings living on it. That the upper echelon of the world government know this. They've known it for a very long time. But they didn't want us to know because of the ultimate power. And we'll discuss it. Now, Earth has been colonized for off and on for many hundreds of millions of years. The first race to actually chart our planet was a group from Delta Draconis. They are reptilian beings. They're anywhere from 7 feet to 22 feet tall and can weigh up to 1,800 pounds. And they don't like human beings. Not here, not anywhere. They were the very first to chart it. They were also the very first to actually have a small colony here 809 million years ago. Now, one of the very first colonies or places that was colonized on the planet is North America, what we now call the United States. There are approximately, today, 1,833 of these reptilians still existing inside. They have lived here for thousands of years. They live thousands of years. Their bodies are not like ours. They live anywhere from 100 to 200 miles beneath the surface. This is where they are. And this all over. The planet is honeycombed with tunnels and caverns. There are approximately 18,000 what we know as grays between here and our moon, from underneath the surface of the planet and the moon. Now, the grays. The grays originally came from Zeta Reticuli 2. I'm giving you the Andromedan perspective. I'm not here to challenge anybody else's information. I'm here to tell you their perspective. The grays came from Zeta Reticuli 2. They left there 892,000 years ago. They got trapped in a war called the Orion, which lasted 600,000 years. It was a galactic war between reptilian forces and human beings. What happened was they were captured by a group in Orion, the constellation of Orion, which is Rigel, Veltrax, Ursa Major, Ursa Minor. They were genetically altered there. Many of the female of their species were killed, so they could not reproduce, so they could control the race. They also genetically altered them so that their sexual organs would become atrophied, and eventually they just would be there because they weren't being used. Now, the Greys, at the same time this was going on, decided that the emotional part of themselves, of their personality, was their weakest link. So they literally bred or thought out the emotional part of their bodies, of their character. Which is why they have no emotion. They're robots. Today, there are approximately 2,100 actual Greys, actual physical Greys, that have a soul, that are part of the original race, the lineage of the original race in our solar system. All the rest, virtually every single one that are doing the abductions on people, are clones. They're robots. They're not. They don't have an essence. They don't have a soul. And they're robots. Does everybody follow me so far? Okay. The Greys have a problem. They're going. This is why they basically are here. Now we, as a planetary race, offer them a great opportunity to possibly save their race.
Thank you for watching UA Pod Daily. I'm Digby Furno, and I'll see you on the next episode. Take care. Goodbye.